So today we complete our first lap of the track. We've looked at clarify, we've looked at energize, we've looked at encourage, and today we look at stretch. How do we ensure that we are bringing stretch into coaching conversations, and what is just the right amount of stretch? To help articulate that with you today, I've got three ideas that I want to share with you that come from three slightly different places. So the first idea I want to share with you is called flow, that state where you're fully absorbed in your activity, where you lose track of time, you're out of your conscious competence and you're into unconscious competence. You're drawing on all your resources, all the skills you have, all your capability, but you're not overwhelmed by the size of the challenge. The size of the challenge is perfectly balanced with your skills, capacity and capability. And an example of that is what computer games are so good at doing, developing the player to a certain sort of level, and then they have to fully use all that they've learnt up to that stage to complete the next level. But there's not so much of a challenge that becomes dispiriting, discouraging, stressful. And that's how we operate best, when the level of challenge perfectly fits with our capability and our level of development. The next idea that I'd like to share with you is the support challenge matrix. In a good coaching conversation, in a good coaching partnership, there needs to be high challenge and high support. What happens if you don't have that? Well, they say if you've got high support and low challenge, that is, you're still getting something out of the conversation. You're getting high support, which is actually what you could get from a family member or a loved one. And so they call that the cozy club. And if you've got low support and low challenge, well, actually, you're not getting anything out of that conversation or out of that experience. So that's just boredom and inertia. If there's high challenge and there's no support, or there's inadequate support, that is very stressful. Whereas that top right hand quadrant of the Blakey and Day support challenge matrix is high support and high challenge. In the coaching partnership, there needs to be that right balance between challenge and support. And the last idea I want to share with you, so the 3 of 3, is the Yerkes-Dodson performance curve. Now, this one actually looks really at stress, and it's looking at how much stress we need to really thrive. And if you look at the curve, it's quite interesting. The near side of the curve is the stress is sort of good stress, but when there's not really any arousal, not really any stress, actually we're bored and apathetic. And then as we go up the curve, the stress increases, and that's when we move into our flow zone, our learning zone, our growth zone, our high performance zone. It's where we've got enough challenge, but it's not too much, because if the challenge becomes again too big, what their research has shown is that actually that moves then into bad stress, we move into anxiety, into panic, and we perform more poorly as a result. So we've got boredom again and apathy, we've got high performance when we're out of our comfort zone, in our flow zone, and then we've got sort of disintegration, panic, disorganisation on the far side. So what relevance does that have for us today? Firstly, we want to try and make sure that we're giving high challenge but also high support, so that those two things work together in tandem. We also want to try and help the coaching client to identify what does that flow zone look like for them. What are their capabilities? What's their sort of developmental skill level, regardless of the task that it is, so in whatever context. And so what would be an appropriate stretch challenge for them that will really enable them to invest themselves fully in the activity, but not be overstretching and over demanding. And then lastly, what sorts of situations create stress for them? So different personalities are stressed by different things. For some people, high change is very energizing. For other people, high change is very stressful. For some people, making decisions, rapid fire decisions, is very energizing. For some people, that's very draining. For some people, having to really complete a finish, evidence-based cognitive tasks is very stressful, very demanding. For other people, that gives them a great sense of kind of control and achievement, and they enjoy it. So there are different things that stress different people, and we want to help our coaching client identify what is it that brings them stress, so that they can, yes, move beyond the comfort zone and draw on that good stress that is going to bring them to high performance, but it's not going to become overwhelming stress that creates panic, anxiety, and disorganization. Those are some thoughts to reflect on. I'd love an opportunity to discuss them with you before the next coaching circle. And in our coaching conversations, if you'd like to, you can ask your observer to look at how you are drawing on that learning in your coaching conversations.